I never thought I'd have to say this, but a fake HOA enforcer shocked my dad with a taser right in front of me, then tried to have him cuffed. We were just hiking a public trail when they claimed we were on their turf. Guess who ended up in handcuffs? That wannabe cop, nabbed by the feds. Let me take you back to the start. Oh, and drop a comment. Where are you reading this from today? My dad hit the ground before I registered the noise. One moment, he was strolling beside me, clutching his to-go coffee like it was a family heirloom. The next, a sharp crack, a flash of wires, and he stiffened like he'd been zapped in his flannel. No scream, no flail, just a collapse onto the dirt path. "Stay down," a voice barked. I spun around expecting a wild animal. Nope, worse. Travis, in a tactical vest, mirrored shades, and a badge that screamed, "I made this at home." His badge read H.O.A. Regulatory Force, which, newsflash, isn't real. "You're on private HOA property," Travis growled, chest out like he was auditioning for a low-budget action flick. Section 12. B. This trail's for approved residents only. My dad, Victor, was an approved resident. We lived 2 streets over, but facts didn't matter. Dad wasn't moving. "Dad?" I knelt, heart racing. His eyes flickered, lips parted, no sound. Then I saw it, a glint under his collar, his pacemaker. Fear slammed me like a linebacker. "No," I whispered, tapping his face. "Dad, come on, stay with me." His fingers twitched. A faint wheeze escaped, then nothing. "You just tased a 72-year-old, I yelled at Travis. He holstered his taser like he'd swatted a mosquito. "He didn't comply," he said, voice cold. "Comply with what? He didn't even speak," I snapped. "He crossed the boundary, level 3 violation." I scanned the empty trail. Nobody but us, trees, and this clipboard-wielding maniac. My pulse roared. I checked Dad's wrist. No pulse, or maybe my hands were shaking too much. His lips were graying. I grabbed my phone. Calling 911. Travis stepped closer. "Bad move, kid," I glared. "You tased my dad, who might be dying, and you're threatening me?" He adjusted his vest. HOA protocol requires an incident log. "Shut up!" I hit the emergency button on Dad's ancient phone, the one he told me to use only if someone was bleeding or worse. "Emergency dispatch, what's your location?" "Pinecrest Trail, back gate near Willow Bend. 72-year-old man, tased, has a pacemaker, not breathing." I rattled off details as Travis loomed, crunching gravel. "Step back," I shouted, shielding Dad. "I'm authorized to secure the perimeter. Touch me, and you'll regret it." Then Dad gasped, a tiny, raspy breath. His eyes fluttered, and he gave a faint smirk, like he'd just pulled off a heist. Then he went limp again. My hands shook. Dad taught me to handle crises, how to disarm a threat, stop a bleed, spot a lie in someone's eyes. He'd grill me during TV reruns. But now, with him sprawled on the ground, my training failed me. Sirens wailed closer. I didn't look at Travis, but I caught a glimpse above us. Linda, perched on a hill, filming with her phone, grinning like she was at a reality show taping. She didn't speak, just recorded, like this was her masterpiece. Paramedics screeched in, leaping out, ignoring Travis. "Pacemaker's offline," one shouted. Another grabbed a defibrillator. I stumbled back, lungs tight. This wasn't just a taser hit, it felt like a trap. And Dad's smirk? That wasn't pain or shock. It was a chess move. He wasn't just a victim, he was hunting Travis. 3 hours later, Dad's eyes opened in the hospital. First words? "What kept you?" Classic Victor. Sarcastic, even with a taser burn on his chest. "You almost died," I said, half relieved, half furious. He glanced at the IV like it was a minor nuisance. Barely, he muttered. You flatlined, Dad. He tilted his head. Better than a dull day. I wanted to laugh, cry, or shake him. Instead, I pulled a chair close, hands still trembling. He looked rough, pale, lips cracked, one monitor beeping steadily, the other glitching every few minutes. Yet he seemed more irritated than scared, like death was just a bad meeting. Victor Grayson, 72, ex-FBI, raised me like a recruit, not a son. Taught me to stay calm under fire, but never how to deal with him. What was that about? I asked. He stared at the ceiling, silent. Travis tased you on a public trail. Linda was filming. I had to use your emergency line. His eyes snapped to me. You used the red phone? Yeah. He paused, calculating. You remember the code? Line 2, Hawk, then Ridge, phrase, Canyon Echo. I got it right, I said. He nodded, eyes closing. That silence hit differently. It wasn't avoidance, it was trust. At 19, I'd failed one of his tests. A stranger trailed me from the store. I hid in my room, shaking, too proud to tell him. He found out weeks later. You flunked, he said. What test? I asked. Exactly. That stung. Sitting here now, watching him breathe, I felt that shame again. I should have seen this coming. I should have known, I whispered. He didn't answer, but his silence spoke. I looked at his hand, rough, cold, the one I hadn't held since I was 5, scared of shadows. You trained me for this, I said. Good, he rasped, except watching you almost die. His voice dropped. Not your battle. Felt like my failure, I shot back. He shifted, wincing. There's a file in the nightstand, bottom drawer. I opened it. One folder. Plan B. Inside, a single page, my name, Caleb, and a note in Dad's precise handwriting. If you're reading this, you didn't fail. My throat tightened. I wanted to yell or laugh. Instead, I sat back, shoulders easing. You should have told me, I said. He didn't look at me. Thought you didn't need me, I whispered. His eyes opened. Didn't need help. Needed a partner. That hit hard, rewriting every drill, every cold lecture. He wasn't pushing me away. He was pulling me in. I'd run after Mom died, buried myself in college, jobs, anything to avoid him. Thought he didn't want me around. I was wrong. I was Plan B. The next name in his file? Someone I hadn't seen since I was 12. Last time I saw her, she said, if Victor ever needs backup, the world's already burning. She was ex-FBI, lived 6 blocks away, and ran ops that made spies sweat. This was bigger than I thought. We pulled into our driveway like thieves sneaking into a lion's den. Dad, still pale at 72, moved like he'd conned his way out of the hospital. Neighbors peeked, some waved, others hid. Dad noticed, but didn't care. He shuffled to the kitchen, grabbed a mug of stale coffee like it was a sacred rite. Before I could heat it, a knock. Not a knock, a tap, 3 soft, smug taps, like someone checking for hollow walls. I opened the door. Linda stood there, dressed like she was auditioning for a country club board. Visor, tight slacks, clipboard gripped like a shield. Her sunglasses perched on her nose, ready to judge a bake sale or a felony. Behind her, Mrs. Carter pretended to trim her hedges, ears perked. Linda's smile was all teeth, like a shark offering dental advice. "Heard about the little mishap yesterday?" she cooed. I said nothing. Her grin widened, like silence was her cue to pounce. "Just checking in," Linda said, voice dripping with fake concern. "Maybe go over some updated HOA rules you and your dad missed." I felt Dad's eyes from the kitchen. Linda didn't step inside but leaned close, testing boundaries. "Older folks sometimes miss the new bylaws," she said. That trail? It's HOA controlled now. No vote happened, I said, voice flat. Oh, there was, she chirped. Just not well attended. We mailed notices. To your knitting group? Her smile twitched, but she didn't blink. You're welcome to file a complaint if you think yesterday's enforcement was excessive, she said. My dad was tased, I snapped. She nodded, like I'd mentioned a parking ticket. We're reviewing Officer Travis's actions. Officer? I scoffed. He's not a cop. HOA enforcement, she corrected. Separate authority. My fists clenched. She handed me a paper. Official notice. Victor's under compliance watch. I scanned it. Pure nonsense. This isn't real, I muttered. Her pitying look said I'd failed her pop quiz. You're getting emotional, Linda said, voice soft but sharp. Emotional? I echoed. You tased my dad, lied about laws, and now you're handing me fake tickets like we're playing a board game. You think I'm scared of someone who polices mailbox colors? Her smile cracked, then reformed, tighter. Bring that fire to the next HOA meeting, 2 days from now. We'd love your input. She turned, then paused. Oh, and that garage out back? It's not up to code, never was. She sauntered off, humming like she'd just shared a cookie recipe, not a battle cry. She waved at Mrs. Carter, who gave a shaky wave back before ducking inside. I shut the door, slow and deliberate. Dad sat at the table, calm, unblinking. I tossed the fake notice down like it was a murder weapon. She's pushing, I said. He sipped his cold coffee, then slid a folder across the table. Handwritten label, H.O. Peace, H.O.A. Threat Matrix. 5 tabs, color-coded. Linda, Tier 3. Travis, Tier 2, kein Tier 1. I looked up. You've been tracking this. He nodded. How long? I didn't ask why. I knew. That afternoon I checked the mailbox. Among junk mail, a folded envelope. No name, just a scrawled W. Inside, be careful. She's done this before. No signature. Across the street, blinds snapped shut. I walked inside, opened my laptop, and pulled up the HOA bylaws. Linda wanted a rule fight? She'd picked the wrong guy. The HOA meeting was in 48 hours. I wasn't just going to call Linda out. I was going to dismantle her empire in her own arena. It started with a buzz, not a lawnmower, but Travis's boots crunching gravel behind our yard. Fast, loud, deliberate. My gut screamed trouble before I turned. He was halfway up the hill, vest, shades, clipboard, and zip ties dangling like a threat. I was fixing a fence board, drill humming. Dad, 72, sat on the porch, pretending to read a magazine, but he hadn't flipped a page in half an hour. Travis stopped on our lawn. You're in violation, he said, voice flat. I didn't budge. Of what? He flipped his clipboard with flair. Unauthorized repairs, excessive fence height, unregistered tools, weed overgrowth. I blinked. Weed overgrowth? He nodded. Your basel's past the setback line. Dad didn't look up. No setback line exists. Travis ignored him. Sir, I'm not addressing you. Dad lowered the magazine. You are now. Silence. No wind, no birds, just tension and zip ties. Travis's jaw tightened. Travis didn't retreat. He pointed at my drill. Power tools outside approved hours. It's 10:45 a.m., I said. Exactly, he snapped. Hours are 7 to 9 a.m., 4 to 6 p.m. per the compliance addendum. No addendum exists, I said. It does now. Dad stood, slow, deliberate, magazine dropping like a gavel. Travis, he said, voice low, you've made your point. Leave. Travis unclipped his zip ties, letting them swing. I'm authorized to detain for non-compliance. By who? I asked. The weed cops? Travis stepped toward me. "Stand down." I stepped into his space. "You tased my dad. Want to add false arrest to your rap sheet? Try me." Dad's voice cut in, sharp. "Caleb." But I wasn't stopping. Travis's eyes twitched behind his shades. I wasn't yelling, just done. His hand hovered near his Taser. 1 inch lower and I'd have lunged. Instead, he backed off, half a step, but enough. A curtain moved next door. Someone watched, silent. No one intervened. Travis broke the quiet. "Citations incoming." He left. Dad and I didn't speak. I stood frozen, jaw locked, breath shallow. He stepped off the porch, picked up the drill, and handed it to me. "You held your ground," he said. That was enough. An hour later, the mailbox clinked. Inside, an HOA citation. Victor Grayson and co-resident cited for non-compliant behavior, threatening enforcement staff, interfering with safety protocols. Stapled to it, a photo of me facing Travis, shot from an odd angle, behind a fence, elevated. I looked up. A pole in the hedge blinked red. A camera. Dad read the notice, eyed the photo, then the pole. "Time to call Hawk again," he said. When Hawk answered, no hello, just, "We've been tracking him." What he said next wasn't a warning. It was a detonator. Travis wasn't just a thug. He was a ghost. We weren't alone in hunting. I grabbed Dad's old flip phone, the one with the number marked "Last Resort" in his handwriting. I pressed it. No ring, just a click. A voice, low, gritty. "Location?" I swallowed hard. "Pinecrest Estates, past West Juniper Trail," I said. A pause. "We've been tracking him." My throat tightened. "Who's this?" "Hawk. Worked with your dad once." I glanced at the empty hallway. Dad wasn't up yet. "Travis tased my dad, now he's filming us." "We know." "Lost him 3 years back. Ex-contractor, botched jobs overseas, fired for fake credentials and excessive force." I blinked. "He's done this before?" "He latches onto HOAs, finds a puppet, plays enforcer." My stomach sank. "And Linda?" Another pause. "She's his perfect shield," Hawk said. My neck prickled like a draft hit my spine. "Why hasn't anyone stopped him?" "No eyes on him. Our lead vanished. Needed someone inside." A floorboard creaked. Dad stood in the doorway, not shocked, just assessing. "Hawk," he said. The voice shifted. "Victor, you didn't tell him." "He figured it out." Dad took the phone, walked to the kitchen. I paced, nerves screaming. He returned, silent, sliding a thick folder across the table. H.O.A. infiltration patterns. I flipped it open. Photos of suburbs, fake titles, all like ours. Linda's picture. Blue blazer, shaking hands with a guy in black tactical gear. Dad's caption, "Not her first muscle." Pages of charts, escalation models, phrases I knew too well. Neutralize via predictable triggers. Use coded verbal cues to calm. It echoed my childhood, Dad's drills, his tests. "Was this what I was for?" I asked, voice low. He didn't answer. I didn't push. I wasn't sure I wanted the truth. Dad handed me the phone. Hawk was still on. "You in?" he asked. Dad's voice behind me. "He's in." I nodded. "I'm sure," a beat. "You're activating protocol slate." My blood froze. At 14, I'd asked Dad what it meant. If I say it, don't ask, just act. Now I was carrying it. Dad pointed to the garage. Bottom drawer, metal box, 3 locks. I found it, dusty, heavy. 2 locks used codes from when I was 8. The third? Dad tossed me a key. Earned it. Inside, a binder, red-edged, a burner phone, Dad's faded FBI badge, a folder labeled Yard Cam 3, 2 flash drives tagged Linda and Travis Errors, and a note, "Don't stop halfway, finish it, legal, smart, loud." I sat on the garage floor, opened the binder. Logs, maps, neighbor schedules, photos of Linda posting fake citations, Travis creeping at night with thermal scopes, a clip, timestamped 3:47 a.m., labeled Garage Disturbance. I plugged in the Linda drive, password prompt. I typed Dad's go-to, Ridge Haven. It opened, videos, audio, one file, Linda recruitment. I hit play. Her voice sharp, cool. You've done security, right? We need presence, stipend, uniform optional. What we need is someone who keeps people in check. I shut the laptop, hand shaking, not from fear, but rage. For once, I wasn't dragged into Dad's fight. I chose it. I didn't just want to stop them. I wanted to torch their whole game. The H.O.A. meeting was my battlefield, and I was ready to swing. We called it a compliance check, because words matter when you're setting a legal trap. HOAs love paperwork more than power. The bait, a garage rebuilt overnight, deliberately off-spec, 1 inch too tall, 3 inches too wide, slightly off-center. A sign zip-tied to the fence, construction approved. Fake HOA letterhead, Linda's signature forged, just sloppy enough to look legit. We waited. Dad sat in a lawn chair, holding a book he wasn't reading. Hawk's team fanned out. 2 in a van, 1 posing as a landscaper, another jogging past our mailbox. I leaned on the porch, calm outside, pulse hammering inside. We weren't just luring a bully, we were hunting a predator. At 10:17 a.m., Hawk's earpiece crackled. He's moving. Travis emerged from the west trail, shades on, clipboard in hand, zip ties swinging. New badge, Chief Compliance Officer. Seriously? He crossed our lawn, no knock, no courtesy, and marched toward the garage, pointed at it. Still non-compliant, he said. I shrugged. Check it yourself. He stepped closer. Back off the structure. I live here, I said. You're obstructing official HOA duties. And you're about to obstruct a federal sting, came a voice behind him. Travis spun. Hawk stood at the curb, gray jacket, no flash, just authority. You again, Travis hissed. Hawk's lip twitched. Lied on your discharge papers, stole gear from a guard base, vanished after an assault rap in Phoenix. That taser? Found its blueprint in a Nevada dumpster. Thought you were clean, you're not. Travis's grip on the zip ties tightened, eyes darting. You're done, I said, stepping forward. We've got you on video, paper, audio. You're bluffing, he spat. I raised a hand. Red lights blinked. Garage, gutter, lamppost, his car. Dad stepped up, no badge, just his folder. Victor Grayson, FBI, retired. You've been impersonating, intimidating, and rigging surveillance. Neighbors appeared, phones out, whispering. Travis panicked, reached for his vest. Bad move. Hawk nodded. A van's doors swung open. 2 agents, gloved, closed in. Travis bolted toward the shrubs, but the jogger flashed a badge, tripped him. Travis hit the grass, zip ties scattering. He thrashed, screaming nonsense. I protected this place. You're all weak. Linda and I fixed this dump. An agent cuffed him, voice flat. Detained for impersonating a federal officer, illegal surveillance, and assault with a restricted device. A neighbor gasped. Federal? Another muttered, knew he was fake. Then Linda appeared, sprinting, blazer flapping, papers flying. She slowed at the van, froze at the cuffs, and when she saw Hawk, her mask slipped, just for a second before she rebuilt it. Linda charged forward. You have no jurisdiction. This is private land, HOA chartered. Hawk tilted his head. Know what that means? She didn't. You broke every rule, I said, camera rolling. She didn't see the neighbors' phones, not at first. When she spotted mine, she turned on me. You planned this? You and your sneaky dad? Think you've won? Then she blew it, lunged at an agent, tried to snatch his file. "Give me that, it's mine." The crowd froze. She'd crossed the line. The H.O.A. Vice President, Greg, in flip-flops, stepped up. I moved to dissolve the current H.O.A. board. Linda spun, betrayed. "Greg?" He didn't flinch. "I second," said Mrs. Carter, clutching her rake. Linda's eyes wild. "You can't. I have rights." Dad edged forward. "You can rule with laws or fear," he said. "Mix them up, you lose both." No one cheered, but no one argued. Linda's screams faded to noise. Neighbors whispered, "She fined my porch swing." My kid's kite got a citation. The spell was cracking. Travis was cuffed, Linda cornered, agents in control. I felt steady, like the chaos had cleared. But what sank Linda's reign wasn't the drama or the crowd turning. It was the paper trail, hiding in plain sight. Those records would gut the H.O.A. for good. Next morning, Linda's house was dead. Curtains shut, porch bare, her clipboard abandoned. The quiet wasn't calm, it was a storm brewing. Hawk's flash drives held gold. Audio, emails, and one killer file. An Excel sheet of shady payments. Rows of vague charges. $76.19 for signage repair. Unverified. $312.40 for gate servicing. $88 for tree assessment. Plausible until I hit the big one. $10,200 for community compliance training, paid to Delta Field Ops. That was Travis. More followed. $820 monthly for event catering at Linda's sister's diner. $1,100 for vehicle upkeep for a ghost truck. Every line pointed to Linda. Then a memo tied to Travis's payout. Keep them scared. Keeps the rest quiet. I read it aloud, stunned. Dad stood behind me, silent. "That's the one," he said. We didn't run to the cops yet. We dug into H.O.A. records, bylaws, vote logs. Linda had rigged clauses via proxy votes, buried power in fine print. It took 4 hours to unravel, but it was flimsy. I carried it all to the H.O.A. meeting. Greg opened, no Linda, just her emailed excuse, recovering from slander-induced stress. Right. I stood by the projector, binder ready, flash drive loaded. The room was packed, half skeptical, half primed. I clicked the first slide. Linda, grinning beside Travis, his badge gleaming. No words needed. Click, compliance training, $10,200. Click, $820 diner deposits, no diner. Click, $1,400 for bylaw consulting to Linda's cousin. Then her email. If they push, cite Section 8. If they dig, stall. If they call the city, say we're code compliant. Gasps. Mrs. Carter stood, voice quaking. She fined my bird feeder. A man in back. My porch light got a violation. The room turned like a tide shifting. I didn't need to push. The slide spoke. Neighbors shared. She banned my wreath. My dog's leash got a ticket. I swallowed, throat tight. This wasn't about rules, I said. It was about fear. Click. The $10,200 line again, bolded. She paid Travis with our money to scare us. It worked until now. I paused, doubting for a second. What if they let her off? Then I saw Dad in the aisle, arms crossed, watching. Hawk's words echoed, "Finish it, smart, legal, loud." I pressed on. Greg grabbed the mic, looking drained, like he'd just seen his world rewrite itself. I moved to remove Linda Wilkes from the H.O.A. board and freeze all discretionary funds pending review, he said. A pause. I second, Mrs. Carter called, rake still in hand. Hands rose, one, then more. No one opposed. I walked home, not triumphant, just unburdened, like a window cracked open in a stale room. Dad caught up at the mailbox. Linda's house was dark, but one curtain twitched. I saw her face, pale, eyes sunken. She met my gaze just for a second, then the curtain dropped. Dad didn't glance over, just said, "You didn't just win. You took her apart, quietly, legally. That's how it's done." Linda didn't scream or plead, just watched. Her expression wasn't anger, it was dread. She knew this wasn't her story's end, it was mine's start. Travis faced charges: impersonating a federal officer, illegal surveillance, using a banned device. He copped a plea. Courtrooms weren't his turf. Linda dodged cuffs, but not shame. Her name hit the county misconduct list. Her fund was locked, her HOA profile erased. The next audit report flagged her budget as a warning tale. Greg, still in flip-flops, became president. He waved when we passed. A new habit. Dad didn't call it quitting, but I knew. He moved slower, drank coffee without a coaster, lingered in the garage, staring at old tools like they held secrets. One day, he handed me his radio scanner. "Still works," he said, smiling like he'd just clocked out. I didn't join the HOA, didn't print flyers or chair meetings, but word spread. Neighbors knocked, called, "Is this legit?" What would Victor say? I became the guy they trusted before things spiraled. Not loud, but credible. I'd seen what fear does. Ethan, a kid from down the street, swung by sometimes. His new drone was sleeker, faster, with night vision to troll me. He flew it past Linda's old porch. No one barked, no citations, just wind humming. I didn't flinch, I grinned. That buzz used to mean trouble. Now it meant clear skies. Dad once said this wasn't my fight, but he was wrong. It wasn't about fighting. It was about finishing right. The meeting room wasn't just a win, it was a shift. Neighbors stopped whispering, started talking. "She fined my mailbox height," one said. "My kid's chalk art got a notice," another added. Each voice chipped at Linda's shadow. Greg ran the board differently. No clipboards, no zip ties. Just rules, not fear. Linda's house stayed dark for weeks. No flag, no visor, no morning jogs. The clipboard on her porch gathered dust. Someone said she'd moved. Nobody checked. Her reign was a ghost now, fading with every neighbor who spoke up. I kept Hawk's number, though we didn't talk. He sent one text: "Good work. Stay sharp." I didn't reply, but I saved it. Dad's folder went back in the box, locks snapped shut. I didn't need it open to know what it meant. The street felt lighter. Mrs. Carter put her bird feeder back up. Ethan's drone buzzed louder, looping the block. A new family moved into Linda's place. No HOA ties, just a swing set in the yard. I walked the trail again, the one where Dad fell. No Travis, no cameras, just gravel and breeze. I stopped where he'd hit the ground, picturing his smirk. He wasn't just surviving, he was baiting. That was Victor, always 3 steps ahead, even flatlined. I didn't cry or dwell. I walked on, phone in pocket, Dad's burner still charged. The trail stretched past Willow Bend where it all went down. A jogger nodded as she passed. No suspicion, just a wave. I nodded back. The HOA sent one last letter, signed by Greg. New bylaws proposed. Community input welcome. I read it twice, then filed it. No rush, they'd learned. Fear doesn't hold if you shine light on it. That was the real win. Dad spent more time on the porch, not watching, just sitting. He'd hum old jazz tunes, off-key, like he was daring me to complain. I didn't. At 19, I'd thought he was cold, training me for a war I didn't choose. Now I saw it. He was forging a partner, not a soldier. I'd missed it, too busy running from his shadow. But I'd caught up. The folder, the phone, the key. They weren't just tools. They were his way of saying, "You're ready." Ethan crashed his drone last week, tangled it in a pine. He showed up, sheepish, asking for a ladder. I grabbed Dad's from the garage, helped him fish it out. He grinned, offered me a soda. I took it. We sat on the curb, watching dusk settle. "Your dad's intense," he said. "Was." I smiled. "Still is." Ethan laughed, then flew the drone again, wobbling but free. I watched it climb, a speck against the sky, and felt something loosen in my chest. The neighborhood kept changing. Mrs. Carter's feeder drew cardinals. Greg's meetings filled the rec center. No shouting, just notes passed around. A kid down the block chalked her driveway. Bright, messy swirls. No citations came. I checked the mailbox daily, half expecting a stray HOA notice. Nothing but bills and flyers. Linda's name faded from talk, replaced by gripes about potholes or pleas for block party volunteers. The fear she'd built didn't just break, it dissolved, like a fog burned off by morning. I saw Hawk once, months later, at a gas station. No windbreaker, just jeans and a ball cap. He nodded, said nothing, and drove off. I didn't chase him. His world wasn't mine, but it brushed close enough to matter. Dad noticed my quiet that night. "Thinking about him?" he asked. I nodded. "He's a ghost," Dad said. "You're not." I looked at him, his eyes sharp despite the wrinkles. He was right. I wasn't running anymore, I was standing. The trail became my routine. I'd walk it at dawn, gravel crunching, air crisp. No ghosts lingered, just trees and the odd squirrel. One morning, a jogger dropped her keys. I picked them up, handed them over. She thanked me. No edge, no hurry. That's what stuck. Normalcy. Linda and Travis had twisted this place into a cage. Now it breathed. I'd pass the spot where Dad fell, and instead of dread, I'd feel steady. He'd trained me for that. Dad started cooking again, badly. Burnt pancakes, lumpy oatmeal. I ate it anyway, teasing him about smoke alarms. He'd grunt, but his eyes crinkled. At 72, he was softer, not weak, just done proving himself. I asked once about the folder, the years of notes. "Why keep it?" He shrugged. "Habit and you." I didn't push, he didn't need to say more. The box stayed locked, but its weight lingered, like a promise I'd already kept. Ethan got a new drone, quieter, with a camera. He showed me grainy night footage of the trail, empty, peaceful. "No creeps," he said, proud. I laughed. "Keep it that way." He saluted, flew it past Linda's old house. The new owners had kids, their laughter spilled over the fence. I walked home, passing Mrs. Carter's feeder, now crowded with finches. Greg waved from his porch, clipboard free. The street wasn't perfect, but it was ours again. Fear lost its grip. Dad gave me his old watch one night, scratched but ticking. "Don't lose it," he said. I slipped it on, heavy but right. He didn't say it, but I felt it, pride, not pressure. I'd spent years thinking I'd failed him, dodging his tests. Now I saw them for what they were. Trust. He'd built me to finish what he started, not to fight his wars. I wore the watch daily, its weight a reminder I wasn't just his son, I was his backup. The HOA's new bylaws passed. Simple, fair, no fine print. Greg mailed them out, no fanfare. I read them, nodded, filed them away. Neighbors stopped by less, trusting their own voices now. Mrs. Carter baked cookies, left some on our porch. Ethan's drone buzzed overhead, looping the block. I watched it, leaning on the fence, the same one Travis had eyed. No zip ties, no cameras. Just sky. Dad joined me, coffee in hand, silent but there. We didn't need words. Linda's name popped up once, in a county report. Her fund misuse flagged for review. No one cared much, she was old news. Travis's plea deal kept him off the streets, probably pushing a mop somewhere. I didn't check. They'd lost power when the neighborhood stopped flinching. I walked the trail that week, passing joggers, dogs, kids on bikes. No one looked over their shoulder. That was the point. Not a trophy, but freedom. Dad's smirk flashed in my mind. He'd known. Dad took up whittling, of all things. Carved lumpy birds, left them on the porch. I kept one, a crooked owl, on my desk. He laughed when I showed it off. Not art, he said, just time. But I saw it, him slowing down, living, not chasing. At 19, I'd thought he was stone. Now, at 72, he was human, and I was okay with that. The folder, the phone, the watch, they weren't his legacy. I was. The trail stayed open, no signs, no badges. I'd run it sometimes, pushing past Willow Bend, heart steady. Ethan joined once, drone in tow, joking about night patrols. I let him ramble. The street hummed with life. Kids' chalk, Mrs. Carter's birds, Greg's waves. Linda's shadow was gone, Travis's too. I'd finished it, not with fists, but with proof, patience, light. Dad's words stuck. Smart, legal, loud. I'd done all three, and the neighborhood breathed easier for it. Last week, Dad sat me down, handed me a key, the same one from the box. "Keep it," he said. I did. He didn't talk about Hawk, the folder, or the feds. Just sipped coffee, hummed his jazz. I wore his watch, checked his scanner, static but alive. Ethan's drone buzzed past, low and fast. I smiled, not at the sound, but at what it meant. The fight was over, the finish was mine, and the sky wide open. I stopped by Mrs. Carter's yesterday. Her feeder was packed, Sparrow's a rogue jay. She offered tea, I stayed. We talked about nothing, weather, her grandkids. Normal felt good. Back home, Dad was carving again, another wonky bird. I set it beside the owl. He grunted, pleased. The mailbox held no surprises, just a flyer for Greg's block party. IRSP'd. The trail called tomorrow. I'd walk it, not to check for ghosts, but because I could. That was enough. Ethan's drone flew past at dusk, lights blinking. I watched from the porch, Dad beside me, coffee cold. He didn't speak, but his shoulder brushed mine. I'd spent years thinking I wasn't enough for him. Now I knew. I'd been enough all along. The neighborhood wasn't just saved, it was awake. Linda and Travis were footnotes. The buzz overhead wasn't danger anymore. It was just noise, and I was home. Dad's watch ticked. The sky stayed clear. The Pinecrest Trail showdown burned 2 lessons into my soul, each as sharp as the taser that dropped my dad, Victor 72, onto that gravel path. First, fear only rules until you shine a light on it. Linda and Travis built an empire on fake badges and forged citations, their zip ties dangling like threats across our 6-inch basil overrun. But when I flashed their $10,200 compliance training scam on the H.O.A. projector, the room gasped. Neighbors like Mrs. Carter shaking off years of dread. Their power crumbled not with fists, but with proof. Smart, legal, loud, just as Dad's note demanded. Expose the lie, and the cage collapses. Second, legacy isn't a shadow to escape, it's a fire to carry. At 19, I thought Dad's drills, codes like Canyon Echo, keys to dusty FBI boxes, were cold tests I'd failed, but his watch, heavy on my wrist, and his smirk as he flatlined told me I was his backup, not his burden. Every tense step toward Travis, every slide I clicked to bury Linda, was me claiming his fight as mine. This wasn't just about saving a neighborhood from a clipboard tyrant. It was about becoming the partner Dad raised me to be. Now, as Ethan's drone buzzes free over a trail no longer patrolled by fear, I walk it daily, 5 miles of gravel under clear skies, knowing courage and truth don't just win, they rewrite the story. Linda's dark house and Travis's cuffs proved it. When you hold the line, the world shifts, and the legacy you feared becomes the one you finish. Have you ever faced a bully like Travis or a control freak like Linda in your neighborhood? Share your story below. Hit that like button, comment to join the fight against fear, and subscribe for more epic tales of courage and truth. Together, we'll uncover strategies to stand tall and win, just like Caleb did on Pinecrest Trail. Don't miss out. Your next victory starts here.